Imagine turning this Apple Vision Pro into a powerhouse PCVR gaming headset, ready to take on your favorite SteamVR titles. With the Surreal Touch Controllers, Surreal Interactive wants you to push the Apple Vision Pro further than ever before.
But the question is, did these controllers deliver on the promise of transforming the Vision Pro into the ultimate PCVR experience? Let's put them to the test and find out if they deliver.
So these Surreal Touch Controllers are self-tracking controllers, much like the MetaQuest Touch Pro controllers. They track themselves via 2 integrated cameras on each controller, and they have a high-performance chip in each controller, so they operate completely independent and don't rely on the Vision Pro for tracking.
Since they are self-tracking, this means you have constant tracking even when the controllers aren't directly in front of the headset. This also means no need for base stations.
We've tried using the Apple Vision Pro for PCVR in the past, but without a dedicated controller options, our options were limited. The best option tracking-wise was the Valve Index controllers, but if you don't have them already lying around, they are $279 and they require the use of a base station, which is $149.
And to have a much better and reliable tracking experience, ideally you want to have 2 of these base stations, so you're looking at a total of $547 just for controllers. Now you can also use the Switch Joy-Con controllers, and they did work, but they aren't great.
So the fact that we now have the ability to play SteamVR content on the Apple Vision Pro with proper controller support that don't require the use of base stations is amazing.
Yes. Now that we know what these controllers bring to the table and why they're such a big deal for PCVR gaming on the Apple Vision Pro, let's dive into their design and see if they truly live up to the premium experience you'd expect.
They look very similar to the Quest Touch Plus controllers. There's 2 colorways, Stellar Gray Frosted or Pearl White Glossy. We have the Stellar Gray Frosted. The price is $369 for the gray and $378 for the white, but currently they're on sale for $289 and $298 respectively. And it perfectly fits the aesthetic of the Apple Vision Pro, and it has this nice orange accent around the joysticks that match the Apple Vision Pro's solo nip band in the back with that orange. And the joysticks, you have a digital crown look about them, so that kind of matches like the digital crown, which is kind of a nice touch.
And the build quality on these is also very good. They're very well made, and the materials all look and feel very premium, so they're definitely worthy of being paired with the Apple Vision Pro. They're also very ergonomic. So they're similar to, like we mentioned before, the Touch Plus controllers for the Quest 3. So if you're used to those, they feel very similar to those. So they feel very good in the hand. Now the buttons, you have your A, B, X, Y type buttons. You also have 2 system buttons, and all the buttons and the joystick, the triggers, everything feels really, really good.
Now the controllers don't have capacitive touch, so you won't have the natural feeling of hand presence and virtuality like you get on the Quest Touch Plus or Pro controllers. But they do have active cooling and have vents on the controllers. The fans are inside and they're kind of audible, but when you're playing you don't really notice them unless you have the controller like right up by your head.
And we saw on the Surreal Touch Discord channel that they wanted to be on the safe side and ship the controllers with the fans at max speed, but that through a firmware update in the future they'll likely dial that back down. The controllers also have an internal battery that can be recharged with a USB-C cable. The USB-C port is on the bottom and is surrounded by a nice metal housing. So no replaceable batteries, which I actually like because I always have to go find batteries.
Yeah. Now battery life is said to be around 4 hours, which isn't a lot, but keep in mind that they do have 2 cameras, a high performance chip inside to handle everything, so that's obviously going to impact the battery life. Working on the firmware updates in the future, so possibly things can be improved.
Now that we've explored the design and how well these controllers fit the Apple Vision Pro, let's see just how easy or challenging the setup process is to get them up and running with your favorite PCVR games.
So you need a couple of things. You're going to need the Surreal Link software that's going to run on your PC, which is a customized version of the ALVR software if you're already familiar with that. And you can get it right from the Surreal Interactive website, and there's a link to it at the top right of that page. We'll leave a link for it in the description as well. You're going to also need the Surreal Link app on the Apple Vision Pro, which you can get right from the App Store. Also, on your PC, you're going to need Steam with the SteamVR installed on that PC.
Once you have it all installed, you can launch the Surreal Link app on the Apple Vision Pro and pair the controllers via Bluetooth directly from the app. Then launch the Surreal Link app on the PC and click Launch to launch SteamVR. Then go back to the Apple Vision Pro, Give it a few minutes, you should see the PC client, and then just click on Connect and it will launch SteamVR on the Apple Vision Pro.
Then you're ready to play all your favorite SteamVR games, and you can play them at up to 4K at 90 Hz. To get everything set up, it took about 10 minutes, and it was pretty simple and straightforward.
So now that we've got everything set up, it's time to dive into our experience. Not just with the Surreal Touch Controllers, but also the overall experience of running the software and using the Apple Vision Pro as a PCVR headset, and see if it delivers the performance and reliability we've been waiting for.
Now, before we get into our experience, here's a quick disclaimer and some recommendations, because your experience using the Surreal Touch Controllers and the Apple Vision Pro as a PCVR headset could vary depending on factors like your PC specs, Wi-Fi connection, and overall network setup. To get the best results, it's recommended to use a high-performance gaming PC and a low-latency Wi-Fi 6 or 6E connection.
It's also highly recommended to have a dedicated router just for PCVR streaming and to wire your PC via Ethernet for the most stable connection possible. You also want to make sure the Apple Vision Pro is connected to your network's 5 GHz Wi-Fi band for optimal performance. If you're still having issues, you can try switching your router to Wi-Fi channel 149 to help with stability, and make sure you turn off AirDrop and handoff on the Apple Vision Pro to reduce stuttering.
To give you an idea of our setup, our gaming PC is equipped with an EVGA GeForce RTX 3090 for the Win 3 and an AMD Ryzen 5 5600X and 32 GB of memory. We're currently not using a dedicated router, but we are running a robust network set up in our home using Ubiquiti Unify equipment with an access point installed directly above our play area. While we haven't upgraded our access points to Wi-Fi 6 yet, we're currently using Wi-Fi 5.
Additionally, from the Surreal Link app on the PC, if you click on the cogwheel at the top right, you can adjust settings like resolution and bitrate to optimize your streaming experience. If you run into any issues, tweaking these settings can help you get the best performance possible for your setup.
Now with that covered, let's dive into what it was like for us. Overall, our experience varied. Sometimes everything was great, but other times not so much. Many of the issues we faced likely stem from our Wi-Fi setup. As we mentioned earlier, we're not using a dedicated router for PCVR streaming, and our access points are Wi-Fi 5 instead of the recommended Wi-Fi 6 or 6E. For that reason, we're hesitant to judge the experience too harshly.
We tested several VR titles, including Beat Saber, No Man's Sky, Subnautica, and Walkabout Golf, and most of the time they played smoothly. However, we occasionally encountered brief stutters and freezing, which did break the immersion, but not often enough to make the games unplayable. We also ran into an issue where SteamVR would randomly switch from full VR to a large flat screen. While it usually fixed itself, one instance required us to reinstall all the software, including SteamVR, to get things working again. Now, this could have been a software glitch, but it's likely more due to our Wi-Fi connection.
By default, the Surreal Link software on the PC sets the resolution to medium, so we decided to up it to high so we could really take advantage of the visuals provided by the Apple Vision Pro, and everything really looked great.
Alright, moving on to controllers. While gaming, the controllers really felt great in hand. They're ergonomic and lightweight, and the buttons, joysticks, and triggers felt great as well. For the majority of the time, the controllers worked well and latency was very low. However, we did experience occasional issues with tracking, specifically with position accuracy. Position accuracy refers to how precisely the controllers detect their location and movements in 3D space.
At times, the controllers would drift slightly or not register our exact position, which affected gameplay, especially in titles that require precise hand movements like Beat Saber. Although it wasn't a constant problem, when it did occur, it was noticeable and it could disrupt the experience.
We also encountered instances where the left controller would lose tracking entirely, but it usually started working again after a few moments. Since these issues don't happen all the time, the controllers work perfectly fine for casual gaming, but they might not be reliable enough for competitive gaming. Also, the controllers have haptic feedback, but to us, it was a little on the light side, and it doesn't appear that there's any way to adjust the intensity in the software.
We also want to mention that you can change the mode of the controllers to a cursor mode to control Vision OS. The controller emulates the pinch gesture and allows you to scroll through your apps, select and interact with them. However, you can't use the controllers to play any games directly on the Vision Pro, like from the Apple Arcade or App Store. An upcoming SDK promises to allow developers to build Vision OS apps that support the controllers directly, so we'll have to wait and see on that. It would also be nice if the company decides to make these compatible with other VR headsets to get more use out of them.
So that was our experience using the Apple Vision Pro for PCVR with the Surreal Touch Controllers. We believe many of our issues we face stem from our Wi-Fi setup. If we had used a dedicated router or upgraded to Wi-Fi 6 instead of Wi-Fi 5, the experience likely would have been smoother.
As for the tracking issues, they could still be tied to our network setup. These controllers are self-tracking with their own high-performance chips, so they're designed to deliver solid tracking. From our research on the Surreal Touch Discord channel, some users reported similar tracking issues while others didn't, so your experience may vary depending on your setup.
That said, Surreal Interactive makes it incredibly easy to get PCVR running on the Apple Vision Pro. And being able to access your entire SteamVR library on the Vision Pro breathes new life into this device, and the visuals were truly stunning thanks to the headset's incredible displays.
Whether this is the ultimate PCVR experience depends on your network setup. If you have a dedicated router for PCVR streaming or at least Wi-Fi 6 setup, we think it could be a great experience and a must-buy for anyone interested in PCVR on the Vision Pro.
However, if your network setup is similar to ours, you may encounter some hiccups. For casual gamers who don't mind occasional stutters or brief tracking issues, it's still a playable and enjoyable experience. But for those looking for precision and reliability, we'd recommend optimizing your network first. And if the rumors are true, Apple is working with Sony to make controllers for the Apple Vision Pro, so that would be something to look for as another option.
If you're planning to use your Apple Vision Pro for PCVR, longer gaming sessions could make comfort a concern, but don't let that hold you back. Check out the video on screen where we review the AnaPro Comfort Head Strap for the Apple Vision Pro, so you can stay comfortable and play longer.
That's going to do it for this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know down in the comments if you're considering picking up the Surreal Touch controllers for your Apple Vision Pro. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.